Good morning and welcome to Friday on Mornings with Luann and Tim. Unfortunately, it's just Tim again today, but hopefully Luann will be back on Monday. It is International Day of Happiness. So get out there today and be as happy as you can be. Appreciate all the things you've got in your life, all the wonderful things going on. International Earth Day. Well, okay, we're going to celebrate the planet. All right, fine. Extraterrestrial Abductions Day. Okay, well, I'm going to be busy later then, because I'll be looking at Earth after being abducted, and I'll be so happy. So listen, Sunday, March the 22nd, this coming Sunday, is World Water Day. So who better to talk to about water than my friend Joni McGuffin from the Lake Superior Watershed Conservancy. She's my guest this morning on the show, and then also we're going to rebroadcast an information piece that I did with Algoma Insurance Brokers. So there's lots coming up after the show's over. You'll have the news with Danielle. So stay tuned. Right now, coming up is Joni McGuffin from the Lake Superior Watershed Conservancy to celebrate World Water Day. See you in a minute.
It's hunting season, so this is probably pretty stupid, right? Actually, hunting accidents kill somewhere around 2 people a year in Ontario. Smoking kills 16,000 a year. So, what's really stupid?
Welcome back to Mornings with Luann and Tim. Okay, so this is very interesting for me. You're my first live guest since all of this went down with COVID-19, and so we've been instructed that we're supposed to keep our social distance, which is 3 meters, 6 feet apart.
Yeah,
so this is Joni and I 6 feet apart, but this is what we do. This is the new reality, because it's not that I don't trust you, Joni.
No.
It's that I adore you.
One paddle length apart.
One paddle length apart. See, she's always got her minds on those canoes in the water. You know, because ultimately what they're saying really is that we are supposed to behave as though we have the virus. Because if you behave as though you have the virus, then you're going to keep everybody around you safe. So
we've all got her hand sanitizer.
Joni brought props. This cracks me up. Now, I said, you got blue jeans, a can of beans, and I don't know what else. Are we learning how to live off the grid, Joni, or is this a cooking segment? What?
Well, I thought for World Water Day, the theme of World Water Day this year is climate change. And we all can play a part.
That kind of ties into with International Earth Day too, doesn't it? I mean, really, it's all the same thing. The water, the earth, the sky. We've got to respect it all.
Well, sustaining our water resources is pretty important to our lives.
I would say.
Our bodies, to start with, are 75% water. So
what's your first clue, right?
If I put you in a dehydrator, I can like shrink you down.
You make it easier to pack me.
Well, I think about that a lot when I'm camping.
Dehydration.
Yeah, you've got to take all the water out of the food to make it lighter to carry.
Well, I know. My friend Steve Belt does that when he goes camping. He dehydrates everything, entire meals.
Yes.
And I think Kevin does that too. Kevin's got these entire meals. You just add water. It turns into it's like a buffet, a banquet.
Well, the Lake Superior Watershed Conservancy is a conservation organization for the watershed of the largest freshwater lake in the world.
And it's international. It's across
the border. And one of the things that I think really fits with the whole theme of life right now, which is COVID-19, is that we are one organism. We are all connected, and there's nothing that connects us more than water. And so where water flows across boundaries, not just across the boundaries of a false international border between the US and Canada, but it flows between the atmosphere and the oceans, our bodies. They say that all the water that is on Earth today is all the water that's ever been on Earth. So the water that flows through us today, you could have water in you that was in the dinosaurs billions of years ago, millions of years ago.
Smell. Okay, so I
gotta tell you.
So tell me about the props.
Okay, well, I thought that this was kind of a fun idea here. We all can have an effect on saving water.
Yes.
And so being very mindful of our use of water resources is really important. So when we brush our teeth in the morning,
turn the water off.
Turn the water off. When we're washing our hands all the time and trying to get the soap between it, and we're going to do happy birthday twice before we get our hands all washed.
Don't run the water while you're singing.
That's right.
You're not using it.
Because all the wastewater, only about 20% of it is ever captured and put back into the system before it's cleaned. And so it's an enormous amount of wasted water. So some of the ways in which we can save water and save our oceans and everything is, I'll start with packaging.
Okay.
So we all know about carrying our own water bottles these days, but that's also a really important thing. I think if we can fill our water bottles up, we save all the billions of 3 billion bottles that go into our oceans. It's like a dump truck full of garbage that goes into our oceans every single minute. And so putting our foods in bags. Now, the bulk food store won't let us use these right now, but you can actually, instead of taking all those little plastic bags, you can put your raisins and your peanuts and all your things in reusable bags.
Oh my goodness.
So that's where I'm going with this, is that is an enormous contribution to the plastics in our oceans, which is the size of I think it's like the size of Prince Edward Island. I'm just guessing now.
The plastics now?
The plastic in the ocean is just like it's huge. And they say there'll be more plastics in the oceans than life in the ocean by 2030 or something like that. Another thing that we can do, I thought this was fun, so wear jeans. So do you know how many liters of water it takes to make a pair of blue jeans?
No, I would not have a guess.
10,000 liters.
Well, because of the washing and dyeing and all that stuff involved?
It's the manufacturing of clothes takes a lot of water.
What, one pair of jeans?
So actually the textile industry is like the second most used industry that uses water. It's just an enormous amount of water. And so what we can do in that way is we can judiciously pick out our clothing, not buy lots of extra clothing. We can buy clothing and reuse clothing. That's a really good way.
Well,
and a lot of people are doing that these days.
Some of my favorite jeans are jeans that somebody else owned before me.
Yeah.
They broke them in real nice.
Exactly.
Like, these feel good and they fit good. And they're so much less expensive as well.
Right,
Yeah,
right.
yeah.
And and then I just wanted to bring up things like milk. So oat milk is one of my favorites right now, and it takes
oat milk.
oat milk.
They
It's
get milk
so
out of oats,
delicious.
Joni?
Yeah, you can make milk from oats. From if you don't like a cow.
I wouldn't think so. That would be kind of.
But a
boy, you'd be yanking on those wheat stalks for a long time trying to get some milk out of them, I would think. So
It's actually water, and they soak.
they soak the oats, and it gets the nutrients from the oats.
Oats, that's right. So it creates a milk that's actually very delicious. And I really advise people try it now. It's quite available, and it
Oat
takes
milk.
7 times less water to make oat milk than it does to make almond milk. And almond milk's a favorite. So
Yes, I'm
that's-
just looking at that container. Oatlicious for the earth generation, plant generation.
And
We do
it's
plants.
gluten-free. So for those that are concerned about that, and it's become.
Have you ever met
much more-
my friends who come here on Wellness Wednesdays sometimes from Clean North?
Oh.
Abby Obenchain and Josh Fillion?
Yeah, yeah.
You'd be a hit with them, I'll tell you.
know
You
them
got all
really
these
well.
great ideas.
And
Okay,
I guess
I'm
my
sorry.
last one
Yeah,
here
what's this
is
one?
the can of beans. One of the biggest impacts on our rainforests and our lands is the production of meat. Well, meat is delicious. I am a meat eater too. But if we could all eat less meat,
Balance.
there's lots of protein in beans, and they're widely available though on the shelves today in the grocery store.
No, and that's another thing about beans is they come in cans, they last forever.
Yeah,
Right?
and if you buy them dried, they last even longer. And we can grow them in our climate, which is also really awesome
Yes.
too. The more local food we buy, the more less impact we have.
So it's about trying to balance out those.
Yeah.
Eat your meat, but at the same time, try to get your proteins from elsewhere to reduce the amount of meat intake.
Yeah,
right?
yeah,
It's all
yeah.
balanced.
It's a big, so when we all, in this time of this pandemic, we're all trying to think about the things that we can do as individuals to have an impact. We're, of course, washing our hands, keeping our distance, social distancing. We're staying home if we don't feel well, and we're advised to stay home, period. So I shouldn't even be in here seeing you today.
Well, no, but we're being sensible.
I know.
Joni and I normally would greet with a great big hug, and we did not hug today. We
That's
saw each other
right.
from a distance
Yeah,
for
hug.
a virtual hug, right? No, I mean, it's the other thing about, I know you're a real outdoor enthusiast, and that's something that also has been brought to our attention, is that there's nothing wrong with going outside and enjoying the outdoors.
Yeah.
I mean, it's all about the social distancing and staying away, keeping your distance from other people, but there's enough space out here in Northern Ontario for us to get out and go for a walk, take your dog, take your kid,
Yeah.
enjoy that. And the weather right now is just going to be lovely. It's warm. It's
absolutely-
going to be going up to like 6 degrees, 7 degrees soon. So a
Yeah.
little bit of snow here and there. But really, if you're feeling well, don't come in contact with people, but enjoy your yard. Or
Particularly get out there with your kids.
For sure, Joni.
There's so many magical things you can do, whether it's that big puddle that's formed in your yard, and it's like, pretend it's a lake, pretend it's a shoreline. Take
Right.
little sticks and make trees and make little campsites. And Sela and I spent hours when she was young, she's 20 now, but
yes.
of building little worlds outside in whether it was camping and wilderness travel or just right in our own backyard.
Right.
And you don't need a lot of space to connect with nature. So
You're absolutely right. Hey, thanks for coming in. You really brightened my day, Joni.
Well, thank you. And
great tips. Super.
Okay, thank you.
See, let's be like Joni. Be like Joni. Let's take care of the earth and the water and ourselves, and be smart. Follow all the tips. Oh, look at www.superiorconservancy.org. That's your website.
yeah.
They got lots of great stuff going on, and come summer, hopefully when we're all back out in nature again, we'll be in your great big canoe, and we're going to hear all about the canoeing, the canoes for conservation.
Yeah,
We'll get
yeah.
you back on again. We'll talk about that again.
Well, we live in a great place here, right, with the Canadian Heritage River flowing out of Lake Superior that has 3 quadrillion gallons of water in it, fresh water. We're in a great place
We are.
to celebrate and honor fresh water.
Happy World Water Day on Sunday, and happy International Earth Day today. Joni
Thank you.
McGuffin from the Lake Superior Watershed Conservancy. We'll be back with my interview with Algoma Insurance Brokers right after this on Mornings with Lou Ann and Tim.
Angelo, it's me. Listen, you bring me 10 gallons of flat eggshell or white paint.
Recently, the Government of Ontario established a $100 million affordability fund to help Ontarians who don't qualify for low-income conservation programs ease the burden of their electricity bill. Whether you rent or own your home, as long as you pay your electric bill, you could qualify. There are 3 levels of support available. The first is a home energy kit with upgrades like smart power bars and LED light bulbs. The second includes Energy Star appliances that help keep things cool during the hot summer months. The third is for electrically heated homes so that your power bills don't break the bank during those long Canadian winters. Plus, all upgrades including installation are completely free of charge. Visit affordabilityfund.org or call 1-855-494-FUND to find out if you qualify.
Welcome back to Mornings with Luann and Tim. I'm joined now by Margaret and Stacy from Algoma Insurance Brokers. Hello.
Hi. Hello.
Thanks for coming in. So I got this idea. January was Crime Stoppers Month. And I thought, what else can we talk about for stopping crime? Who would be involved in stopping crime besides helping us prevent crime, besides like the whole police and Crime Stoppers? And I thought, I'll bet insurance agents have some really good ideas about how to keep your home safe to help prevent crime, right? So I thought, let's reach out to some insurance brokers, and here you are from Algoma Insurance. Are you the oldest insurance company in Sault Ste? If not the oldest, you must be one of the oldest.
Oh, we are.
How many years, Margaret?
It's 79 years.
You look so young.
Yeah.
You haven't been there since the beginning, no. Started originally in 1940 something, right?
Yes.
By one of the Hollingsworth family, I guess. Somebody last name was Hollingsworth. Who do you remember owning it before the current?
Well, when I started, it was William Horbatek.
The Horbatek family.
Yes, the Horbatek family.
Okay.
And now we have new owners.
Who now?
So now we have Ryan Bentley.
Okay.
And Aldo Greco.
Excellent. Now, and you've also, over the years, I don't know how long you've been around, Stacey, but were you around when it sort of usurped a couple of other companies? Or?
So that was before me.
Before your time?
Yeah, but Margaret could probably talk about that a little bit more. I've been there for about 14 years.
Have you really?
I have.
You look so young.
Oh, thank you.
There's something about being in the insurance industry makes you look young. Look at these people.
Thank you.
I remember you mentioned Chitty. I remember Chitty from the 1970s.
Yes,
that got taken over.
Yes, we merged with Chitty.
Chitty
and then also Dial.
Remember Dial Insurance? Oh my gosh, these are bringing back memories.
Yes.
Wow.
Yes.
And then also the location. There used to be on Queen Street by the Orpheum Theater.
Exactly.
And then you were on...
When I started in the industry 32 years ago, it was on East Street.
East Street across
across from Mrs. B's.
Which is now East Street Pizza.
Exactly.
Right? Yeah. And then you moved to beside where the Vic, remember the Vic, the old Victoria House? For those of you who remember the Vic, you're located what would be next door to where the Vic was, right? I think, or on the same corner.
On
the corner where the Vic was.
Where the old Vic house used to be.
Which is basically where Bay Street comes up and meets Queen Street.
Exactly.
Algoma Insurance Brokers. Yeah. Okay. How big a staff do you have? You have a good sized office, don't you?
Yes, we do. We have about 55 staff members.
Are you kidding me?
Yes.
You all fit there.
We all fit there.
Okay, so, and one of the things I wanted to talk about was tips about trying to keep our home safe. Now, I told you guys I had a home invasion. We were broken into, and it was a smash and grab. Foolishly, we sat in plain view, my partner and I, in front of a big picture window, working at our dining room table on our laptops. And went away one night to watch a movie, didn't even think about it, came home, and the door had been kicked in, and there was a police officer in the living room with my mother, because they'd been called because somebody had broken in and they stole the laptops. We had them, obviously. They don't put stuff on display. Then 3 weeks later, we figured the same people broken again, because they know insurance companies replace stuff, and they probably walked by the house and saw me on my laptop, my brand new laptop again that the insurance had covered, and they broke in again. You mentioned something, Stacey, about one trick is moving stuff around. If you've had a break-in, there's a couple things you can do, for instance, because bear this in mind. If somebody has broken into your home and they're thinking about coming back, name some ways that you can prevent that from happening.
Well, we always recommend that alarm systems. A lot of clients like to have alarm systems installed.
Also, if you get an alarm system, you get a discount on your insurance.
You get extra discounts as long as they're monitored.
Yes.
There's new technology coming out every day. Some clients now have cameras.
We did that too, Margaret.
Proper lighting around the household.
Proper lighting is excellent. Light your yard and the surrounding area. Thieves don't like it when you can be seen.
Exactly. Yeah. So.
And you said hiding stuff in case you've had a break-in. They sometimes spec the place out, right?
That's right. Exactly. Yeah, someone can come into your home, and if they've been there before, they might be scoping it out to see what other items are there, so they're prepared the next time they come. If you have a break-in, you can change your locks. You can move things around. You can hide things.
I'm not going to tell you where my hiding places are, but we have some great hiding places now that no one will ever find my stuff again. Also, the reinforced door thing. Have you heard about this? Like, for instance, when they kicked my door in, it just splintered the wood. Where the deadbolt was, it just splintered right through. You can get a metal thing that you can put inside your door frame, and so they can't kick the door open. That's a great thing we learned about too. Yeah, you can have one of those installed.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Okay, now, what about as far as contents go? Do I need to is it a good idea to keep a running tally of the things that are in my home? I mean,
we're always recommending that inventory be kept, especially if there's certain specific pieces or collections that you might have. You have easy access to phones now. You could take video, keep it in a safety deposit box, keep it outside of the location if you want to, give it to a family member, so that at least you have access to it. Right. The insurance companies don't specifically require like a list of all your items, but it is wise for you to keep inventory.
Well, because also there's trauma involved when there's a home invasion or a break-in or a robbery. There's a certain amount of trauma, and you're not thinking about what am I missing, and it might be months later before you think, where is that thing that I had?
That's right.
Right?
Exactly. Yeah.
Also important to note that if there's something that's important to you, you may need extra insurance for it as well.
Oh,
so
an example.
So an example would be home insurance does cover certain items, but if you have a high valued item for jewelry, watches, furs, bicycles, things like that, there may be a limit on what they will insure. So if that's really important to you and you want that extra protection, talk to someone, your broker or your agent, about it so that they can increase or make sure we have that insured properly for you.
Like new purchases, inheritances,
That's right.
that sort of thing. You get something precious, like we talked about. I recently came into some stuff from my mother's estate that is very valuable to me.
Yes.
So I should talk to my agent about, my broker about making sure that that's covered.
That's right. Have a meeting with them and make sure the limits are to the limits that suit your needs, right? Because every policy has certain limits on it for specific items, right? Some do, some don't. So it's really important for you to go back and have that discussion with your broker. It's a partnership that you would, talk it through.
Communication's
and communicate exactly what your needs are or what you collect.
What are some of the things that people come to you with asking you questions about? What's a really popular question that you get about home insurance, Stacey, for instance?
One thing that people think is that they think that the contents in their home or the contents that are in their garage are automatically covered. So important to note that there are items that may need special insurance. So just because if your vehicle is stored in your garage and that gets stolen or it has another loss, that doesn't always mean that it would be covered under the home insurance. It may need something special. Watercraft, recreational vehicles, things like that, bicycles. Again.
Side-by-sides, that kind of stuff,
exactly.
Right?
That's right. Yes. So again, if you think that it's because it's contained within that building, you think it's insured, again, check and confirm.
Now, also, do you think that sometimes people get intimidated by the lingo and all the papers? I mean, when you get an insurance policy, oftentimes there's paper after paper. Is that something, a service you provide, where you just sit down and make it sort of in layman's terms, so we understand it?
So it's always important to have that meeting with your broker or whoever you're dealing with, and it's a partnership, right? Like I said before, and we simplify it, right? So that if there's specific items that you want us to concentrate on, then we can meet with you. We'll discuss it. We'll explain to you what is covered, how you can avoid something being stolen or lost, or how it'll affect you with your terms.
Okay, so now speaking of policies, you mentioned that there's different policies. There's home, there's car, there's life. When you combine your policies, is there a discount for packaging things together? Does that happen as well? Or?
Yes. As you combine, the more you can combine, the more discounts. Or you definitely would get a combined policy discount.
Right.
And it also simplifies.
Right.
For you, right. Once a year, you would get both your home and your auto together.
Home and your auto together, right. And then you do all the legwork, don't you? So for instance, if I come to you and say, I want this kind of a policy, and you'll try to find the one that's best suited to me. You go out and you search for the policy. Is that how the deal works?
Yes, and that's the advantage of having a broker. We do check other markets, all the markets that we would have available, and we assess your risk, right? And then at that point, we pull all the information, we check the markets for you.
We're saying also, it must be sort of like, we talked about the role that you play. It's almost like social worker sometimes, because if someone's dealing with the trauma of having gone through a robbery, and then they have to talk to you, and then also a legal advisor, I mean, you play all those different roles.
Yes.
What kind of background do you have to work in the field?
So we have our own licensing. You have to be a licensed broker in order to speak with clients, of course. And then Margaret and I both have additional courses that we have taken that we learn
to upgrade
to get a little better at at our job.
Right.
And then of course, yes, we deal with lots of different insurance companies in our brokerage. So there are certain companies that offer different protection.
Right.
So
you customize
it based on what your needs are. Yeah.
Fantastic. Yes.
It's a partnership, right? So we have multiple partners that make us succeed in our role, right?
Well, obviously succeed. 97 years in Sault Ste. Marie. Sorry, 79.
79.
That was a little bit of dyslexia kicking in there. 79 years in Sault Ste. Marie, 55 employees. Congratulations on the success of Algoma Insurance Brokers. You're doing something right. And if you want more information, you have a website.
Yes, we do.
You want to name it? We'll put it on the screen underneath this. But what is your website?
www.algomainsurancebrokers.com.
It's as easy as that. Facebook? You're on Facebook too?
Yes.
Facebook page, social media?
Social media.
They have all the answers. So thank you very much for joining us. It's been a pleasure meeting you.
Thank you.
And,
Thank you.
Oh, great. This was a great interview. Very informative. We'll be back with more Mornings with Luann and Tim right after this message.
Hi, can I take your order? Hello?
Oh, hey. Wait, what was the question?
Let me guess. One driving high combo, extra baked?
No. Could I get a burger with a side of fries?
Think you're a better driver when you're high? Think again. If you smoked weed, wait at least 4 hours before getting behind the wheel, or don't drive at all if you're new to it, have eaten it, or if you've mixed it with alcohol.
Imagine knowing about incidents, closures, and road work all before starting your trip. Ontario 511 lets you know before you go. You can get real-time information directly from the Ministry of Transportation, because the more you know, the easier it is for you to go. And spend the time doing the things that matter most.
Thanks so much for tuning in on this Friday to Mornings with Luann and Tim. Have a great weekend. I'm looking forward to Monday when Luann returns, and we'll have, I don't know what's going to happen next week with guests, but we're going to start Skyping and doing interviews long distance, or if you're in Sault Ste. Marie and you want to talk about something, get a hold of us here at Superior Media. I'll Skype with you and you can share your story with me. Meanwhile, stay safe, Sault Ste. Marie. The news is coming up next on ONNtv. See you on Monday.